Hi, and welcome to the Customer Success webinar today. Today we're going to be going over filing with the Bankruptcy Court through NextChapter. So today as we get going, there is a spot to send any questions you have as we go through. And if you have any questions, we'll take some time at the end to go through and answer those questions and see how we can help. If you have any issues with hearing or seeing, you can also send a message in the chat as well, and we'll make adjustments as needed. So presenting with me today, my name is Mandy Ballinger. I'm the Chief Operating Officer, and Katie will be present with me. She's the Customer Success Manager. So if you've ever had questions or you're getting started in the application, you've most likely heard or talked to both of us or one of us, and we're the ones to kind of help you get going in the application and make sure you have all your questions answered and that you're set up in the system. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And we're going to walk through the best way to file a case through NextChapter. Oh yeah, okay. So I'm going to get started with this here. The first thing you want to do before you're ready to file a case is you need to make sure that you have the attorney's credentials set up. So the best way to do that is to go into Account and My Account Settings. Then under My User Profile, the attorney will have the ability to save in their primary credentials here. So you want to check that you have the bar number, the bar state, and the district. So if the state is Florida and you're filing in Florida Middle primarily, you'd want to have that selected here. And then also saving in your ECF login password and the login itself. I always recommend testing these out before you save them in to make sure that you have your credentials for the actual bankruptcy court. So a lot of the PACER and ECF logins will be separate from the district court. So a good way to kind of test that out is make sure that the URL that you're using will have a B in it instead of the D. So for example, Arizona is going to be AZB instead of AZD. That's the court that we're going to sync with to file your bankruptcy case. So if you have an attorney maybe who's newer to filing bankruptcies and just received their credentials, that's a good way to test out and make sure that you have the correct credentials saved here. This top portion is where you're going to want to save their primary district, so where they're going to be filing a majority of the time. Down here, you do have the ability to save in multiple profiles. So if I'm an attorney who files in Maryland and I also file in DC, I can come here and say Add Profile. And then I can add all that information here, indicating all the bar information and then those separate credentials, because each of the courts do require separate credentials to be able to file in those different courts with their websites. So you can save as many as needed. And then what's nice, I'll show here in a minute, when I'm in the case, I'll be able to select which profile I want to use for this attorney. And then always be sure when you make any changes in this section that you click on the blue button down here that says Save User Settings. And then I'll get a little confirmation that it's been updated. So now that I have the credentials saved, and when I'm ready to file the case, I'm going to hop into a test case that we have here. In the client profile under Filing Information, in the middle column here under Attorney, this is where I'll see a list of all the profiles and all the attorneys. So if there were multiple attorneys in the firm, I'm going to see them all listed here. And then if an individual attorney had multiple profiles, those are going to be distinguished by the district code right here. So here's my New Jersey credentials and here's my Arizona credentials. So you just want to make sure you select the right one for the case that you're working on. So once you have the correct attorney selected, while I'm in this section, I do want to show a new feature that we have to help you file the application to pay the installment fees and waivers, in payments. So if I select that here, I'm going to get an additional screen now. And this is what's going to be used to complete that application and the proposed order to be filed with the court. So I can say how much I would like to propose the debtor pay for each of those, and then I can choose what dates as well. So once you have all this information added, it's actually going to save this installment fee in the preview. So if I go to preview and scroll down to the bottom here, we show you how this form's being completed. It is separate from the actual petition packet. We just want to show you it here so you can confirm that everything was entered into this like you wanted. And then we also save a copy of this in the client document storage for you to download, and then you can also file it with the court if we have that ability set up with your court. So I'm going to go ahead now and proceed down to the additional documents, client document storage. So this is where you want to save any additional forms that you're going to be filing with the initial case filing. NextChapter currently only supports the initial case filing. So if you're going to be filing the credit counseling certificate, any income records, tax statements, anything else that your court requires, and it does vary per court, you would want to go ahead and just drag and drop those files right here. And once it's saved, you'll see it here. You can actually rename it to anything you'd like. It's going to default to what you have it saved on the PDF file. And then you'll see another column here. For a majority of the courts, we have saved in the court's event codes. So these are essentially the event codes are the additional documents that the court will allow to be filed with the petition packet when you create the case. So if you don't see anything here, it may be because we don't have the event codes completed for your court yet. And we are kind of rolling this out on a per court basis. And if you're in a court that maybe we just haven't had a lot of requests for, just send us a message over in the chat here and let us know that maybe there's an event code that you regularly use that's missing. Or if you don't see any at all, just let us know and we can put that on our list to get added in, and we can let you know when it's ready in the system. So I'm in Colorado and we do have the event codes for that district. So what I can do is essentially assign the proper event code to each item here. So if the court wants me to file the income records, I can do the drop down and find the employee income records. Same with the credit counseling certificate. And then here is where we saved that copy of the installment fee sheet that was in preview that I saved up in client profile. So if we have the event code for that, we would go ahead and select and assign it. And now it's telling NextChapter to file each one of these forms separately with the court under these specific event codes. And I think that's it for my portion. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Katie. Now she's going to walk through filing the case.
Okay, so I know for now there are other options from this dropdown. It looks like the dropdown isn't showing through the screen for the webinar. But if you're in a district where you're required to maybe file the means test form separately or your attorney disclosure, those will be options from these dropdowns. Just don't select anything yet. You don't need to upload those. Those are things that NextChapter has already created in your packet automatically. So I'll show you what to do with those and how to get those filed correctly. We are in a Colorado example. Every court is different. So like Mandy said, let us know if event codes are missing, and maybe you're in one of the lucky districts that doesn't have to separate all of those out. So the first thing I would do prior to filing is generating your statement of Social Security. So since we are on the cloud, we want to take even extra precaution and not store the full social anywhere in the case. So we'll generate the form for you in the download and print section, but this is not automatic. It does not automatically get filed since we don't have that full social anywhere. So the first thing you can do is click on download and print and just unselect everything except the statement of Social Security. So we don't need the text file, the filing fees. I'll unselect the packet and then proceed to download just that statement of Social Security. So it's going to ask you for the social and then click download. As this is loading, you'll see the spinning wheel and then it'll pop up letting you know, here's the form, click on the orange bar, and then we'll generate that statement of Social Security for you. So save it somewhere you can easily access it and upload it back into your case. I'm just going to save it to my desktop quickly and just name it SN. So now that that's saved, I will show you how to file that. So I'll click complete, and then we're done with this download and print portion. So now we go to review and file. You'll want to make sure you have all green check marks here. So this looks good. Everything's ready to go. This is the bare minimum that we need to be able to file your case. If you see a red X, maybe, you know, the attorney disclosure wasn't selected, or there's no billing information in there, you can quickly click on these links and they'll take you right back to the section to complete the necessary information. In the next tab, Assemble PDF Packets, everything on the left are going to be all of those available forms and documents. So these are all of the NextChapter generated forms, as well as down here at the bottom, anything else that you've uploaded into that client document storage section. Anything in the middle here is what's going to be merged and filed together as your voluntary petition packet. Let me see here. I just got a message that you can't hear anything. Is the volume? We're recording this, so if the volume, if you're having any issues with the volume, we'll send a recording afterwards. We've tested it. We have someone in here that can hear it, so.
No sound here. So it seems like some people can hear and some can't. We're going to take a really quick look in to see if there's anything we can do to improve that. But it sounds like it might be a connection if we have some people who can hear. It's about half and half. So I guess make sure you do have a secure connection. That might be a cause of the issue as well. But it does look like it's kind of varying per person here. And like Katie said, we'll send out a copy of this recording to everyone when this is done here. Sorry, I wish I had a better solution, but it seems like it's kind of half and half.
Okay, back to review and file. We're on the Assemble PDF Packet section. So again, the left are the available forms. The middle is what will be merged and filed as your petition packet. And the right here are all of those additional PDF packets. So these are going to be all of those forms that your court requires you to file as a separate event, but it's still going to be filed at the same time when you file your petition packet. So as you can see, anything that you've set up in additional documents, client document storage, is already here. So you can see here's the form for the income records. We have the certificate of credit counseling in here. If your district has specific questions, those questions will be in here. Just make sure to answer them. So for this case, we'll have just the debtor. The filing fee installments. If you didn't attach these in client document storage, it's okay. You can still select them from this PDF packet event dropdown and then just drag them over to where they belong. Here is the box for the statement of Social Security. So as you can see, this one cannot be dragged. If you try to drag something in it, it's going to default and go somewhere incorrectly. So do not drag the statement of Social Security over. Make sure you click Choose File from your computer. So this is going to allow us to browse. I just saved it on my desktop. I'll double click it to upload, and it's there. The reason you know it's there is because it's no longer asking you to upload any documents. It's in there. It's good to go. If you accidentally have something in here you don't want, you can delete any of them. To get all of your standard forms over here, the easiest thing to do is come to the bottom of this middle column and select Complete Bankruptcy Petition. So there are two options here, either a complete bankruptcy petition or an emergency filing. If you click the complete petition, all of those standard forms go over. Anything left over on the left here would be anything you've uploaded into additional documents, client document storage, that aren't the NextChapter generated forms. If for some reason you have, if you had to write C attached on one of your forms because you needed more room, maybe you needed some kind of description you wanted to add, you can still choose to drag these anywhere into your petition and they'll get merged and filed with your case. For some of these districts, like this one would be Colorado, you have to file some of the standard forms separate from your case. So if I come through and choose the Chapter 13 means test forms, and I'm going to choose the attorney disclosure of compensation, those all, once you select them from this box down here, and I know the dropdown isn't, you can't see it, but I selected them all, they pop up here to the top of this packet. So now we have these, the disclosure of compensation and the 2 means test forms. Those are NextChapter generated forms, so you can just drag them over since we've already created them for you. So here's our attorney disclosure. I'm going to drag it over and put it in the correct box, and now that's ready to be filed. Same thing with these Chapter 13 forms. So statement of current monthly income, drag it over, and then this current monthly disposable income, drag it over. So this, like I said, is a Colorado example. Not all districts require you to do this, but if they do, we have those as options from this dropdown. Once your packet is good to go, you can proceed to the filing tab. It's just going to say to make sure your packet is properly assembled. One thing to note, if you leave this page and don't file your case, maybe you leave the app, you come back in, you will need to assemble the PDF packet again. This is one of the very few pages in NextChapter that doesn't automatically save, so just be mindful of that. Once you're ready to file, you can choose your division from the dropdown, and then we need that social one more time just to actually start the case with the court, and then you can start the ECF filing. So for this case, I'm in a test case, so I've already filed this. It's not letting me file again. Normally, you can click Start ECF Filing. It's going to say one more time, are you sure you want to start a new case with the court? And you can click yes. At this point, it cannot be canceled. If you leave the application and come back in, you'll still see that the filing is in progress. But at the same time, if you want, feel free to leave this page, go work on another case. If you stay on this page, you'll get a hooray message that everything was filed. You'll also get an email. It'll be sent to the attorney on the case, and it will have a confirmation message, and then it will have PDF links back to all of the forms that were filed, just for your reference. This page also, if you stay on here, along with your hooray message, it will give you a link that takes you straight to the notice of BK page. So that's nice too, just to kind of go directly to your case in the ECF page and verify that everything was filed. If for the very rare occasions that maybe a credit counseling certificate didn't file, we let you know. So you'll know to go download that and upload it directly to your case. But other than that, it takes, after a few times running through this process, it's pretty easy to use. We are trying to add all those event codes to get everything filed for you to make it as easy as possible. But that's the filing process.
Yep, and we also have in our Help Center, if you haven't visited that yet, if you click on Help and go to Help Center here, we have a lot of articles, so this really you can use for anything in the app, but we also have a video in here as well. So if I'm trying to file, there's articles about filing additional documents, so this really goes over everything we talked about today. And then I believe at the very bottom of this article here, maybe it's not this one, we do have a video in here as well. So we'll include a link to that as well. It's a 6-minute video. It's a little bit shorter, but it walks through everything we did. So if, a week from now, you've got your first case, you're ready to file, and you want to do a quick refresher beforehand, you can reference that as well. So I'm going to check now and see if there were any other questions. Looks like I don't see any on there. So that's it. I do apologize for any of the sound issues today. We will send out a copy of this once we have that ready to go. And please feel free to reach out if you have any other questions. Thank you. Have a good weekend.